Is there room for ambitious women in God's kingdom? Is it wrong for a godly woman to be ambitious? Can success, ambition, and Jesus, or rather Christianity, be mentioned in one sentence? Can it? Are we wrong for desiring more out of life than the docile women of the Holy Book? So last week we were having a conversation, and one girl asked me, like, Belly, you're so ambitious. I mean, you have an 8 to 5 job, you are the CEO of Julian's Collection, you are the founder and director of Ambitious Girls 254, you have an 8 to 5 job, and above all, every Sabbath you host a show, his praises show on Barikiwa TV. And when I follow you on your social media platforms, you seem to be this religious girl. How is that so? How can you be so ambitious and still claim to be a Christian? And this got me thinking. Yeah? Can ambition and Christianity be mentioned in one sentence? Can it? So that question really got me thinking, and I had to go back and do a Bible study. Were there ambitious women in the Bible? What were their names? What did they do? How did they look like? What were their characters? And I came up with a very funny, no, it's not funny, but the finding shocked me because I was trying to look at the women in the Bible, and one thing that was so clear is that these women were not educated. They did not have system. And most women in the Bible, from what I found out, is that they were more of supporting characters to the men. For instance, look at Esther. Esther was told by his uncle Mordecai to go for the beauty pageant at the king's place. Somebody like Naomi, who was later married to Boaz, look at her life. These women were just told men, they were just supporting characters to men. They had no corporate ladders to climb, they had no systems, they were not schooled. So when I was doing my study, I realized that culturally we are so different from the women in the Bible. Because for instance, us, we are schooled, we are we have been allowed to go think beyond the kitchen. We have been allowed to own our lives. We've been allowed to be heard. We can say something. We can go to school. We can get a career out of ourselves. Unlike these women in the Bible who the only thing they knew was you had to go get married, take care of your family. And that was it. But for us, it's different. We go to school, we have the corporate ladder, because nowadays everybody, if you want to get married, a man will ask you, what do you bring on the table? And you must have something in your hand. Unlike those days when men would provide and women will just be there and take care of their family issues. And now I ask myself, we are so different culturally. Who are we going to look up to? Because the women in the Bible are so different from us today. So now this brings me to the question, is it wrong for a godly woman to be ambitious? And I came up with 3 questions that I will answer. As I read the Bible, I got the answers from the Bible, and it will help us to discover whether it's wrong for a godly woman to be ambitious. Is it allowed in the Bible? Were there ambitious women in the Bible? What did they do? Who were they? So come with me and let us learn together. The first question, where does my ambition come from? And this will give you the example of the Proverbs 31 woman. Let me just read for you a few examples of who the Proverbs 31 woman is. The book of Proverbs, chapter 31. Psalms, Proverbs. Here we go. Proverbs 31, I'll read for you from Verse 15 says, She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth it with the fruit of her hands. She planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengthens her arms. She receiveth her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchants. Just see, these things that the Proverbs 31 woman does. Yeah? And instead of being clothed with jealousy, pride, competitiveness, hunger for success, we find that this woman, the Proverbs 31 woman, is clothed with strength and dignity. And in the long run, we realize that it's not about how ambitious you are. It's about what compels your ambition. Look at the Proverbs 31 woman. What compelled her ambitions? Question number 2. Where is my ambition taking me? We realize that ambition is that strong desire to succeed. You want to succeed no matter what it takes. And you want to ask, you ask yourself, where is my ambition taking me? Well, as a kid or growing up, my definition for ambition or for success was to be top of my class, get a good job in the high position, be that person who is praised and being given projects to take care of, just being in the top level of a good organization, an NGO for that matter. That was my definition of ambition, just getting where I wanted to be. And looking back, where I am today, I think God placed me. God had different plans with me. I had plans for myself, but God had different plans with me, and that is another story altogether, which I'll tell you some other day. Now, where is your ambition taking you? Is it drawing you closer to God, or is it driving you away from God? God desires to have a relationship with us. He desires to have a connection with us. And when our ambitions are not in line with His wishes for us, things won't go well. They usually don't go well. And one ambitious woman in the Bible is Deborah. If you're a reader of the Bible, you know the story of Deborah. Well, Deborah was the only female judge during her time. And Barak decided to go with her to war. And why I look up to Deborah as an ambitious woman is the fact that she was a female judge, and whatever she did, she did not do it out of her own will. She had to listen to God's voice. Yeah, whatever decisions she made, they had to be spiritual. In as much as she wanted to help her people, the Israelites, flee from the oppression, she had to let God lead. What does God say about this? What has God allowed me to do? When God leads, where God leads, I will follow. What God says, I will do. And we find that Deborah became a heroine during her time because she followed God's voice. She allowed God to use her. She did not go after her own ambitions, but she allowed God's will to prevail. And that is what we should do as Christians. Whichever ambitions we have, God should take the lead, and we should listen to His voice. The third and the last question that we're asking ourselves today: where has your ambition brought you? I am an ambitious young girl. and I'm ready to take on the world. But my greatest desire, my topmost desire, is to serve God with all my capabilities, to give God my all. That's why I always ask myself, am I going where God is leading? Am I choosing God above my career? Those are some of the questions I ask myself because I really want to serve God with all my capabilities. Let's look at this. These things that I'm doing that makes people to see that I'm so ambitious, I let God guide. I have an 8 to 5 job. What do I do? Daily I pray to God. God, bless the work of my hands. Thank you for this job. May I find favor with my bosses and my colleagues. And true to his words, God has always taken care of me. I have a business, Julian's Collection. You know, David says, in the book of Psalms, David says that I've never seen the children of the righteous suffer neither beg for bread. When I'm low on finances, I tell God, you know what, God? When Moses was in the jungle, you asked him, what is in your hand? And he said, a rod. And you told him to strike the rock, and water gushed out, and the Israelites were never thirsty. And I have my business, Julian's Collection. That is what is in my hand. That is my rod. God, I'm not going to be broke. Bless me. And he sends customers. And just like David, I can attest I've never suffered, neither gone hungry. Because David says, since he was a child and now he's old, he's never seen the children of the righteous suffer, neither beg for bread. I've never begged for bread. I've never suffered because God has always been with me. I have always put him first. With Ambitious Girls, as we do our mentorship, before anything, we always ask God to be with us. Each time we pray to him and tell him, you know what, God, may you increase as we decrease. May you be seen and not us. As we give out these things, as we do our donations, Lord, we're doing this for you because you said the greatest religion is to give, is to give to the homeless, to the orphans, and even to the widows and widowers. That is what we're doing. May those people see you and not us. And God is always glorified, and we don't take any glory. We acknowledge him. And that is what we always do. When you allow God to be part of your ambitions, you allow God to be part of your ambitions, you will always go far. You will always succeed. Yeah? So, your ambition should bring you closer to God and not further from him. I want to say this. Ambition is a lovely trait. But when God ceases to be the center, when God ceases to be the source of your ambition, the zeal in you will turn into striving. The success will be hollow. You'll always have a void in you. It will be hollow instead of holy. The book of Proverbs 31 verse 30 says, a woman who fears God is to be praised. And that should be our greatest ambition.